What is up, you guys? My name's Kayla. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for your support the last few weeks. You guys have been absolutely amazing, and I really wanted to bring you this video where I talk about how I shrank my waist by 4 inches and how I grew my glutes about 2.25 to 2.5 inches. First, I'm going to talk about nutrition. Then I'm going to talk about my workouts and the exercise portion of it. Let's dive into the nutrition of it first. I'm going to start off and just saying, hey, I was a chronic dieter and yo-yo dieting. I was always trying something new. I've literally done everything under the sun. I've done Whole30, keto, carnivore, Atkins, Weight Watchers. I've done it all, you guys. So I had to stop that because I was trying to do these diets short term so I could have long-term results. But if you think about it, that makes no sense at all. My expectations of the diet did not match the reality of my life. And for me to have long-term results, I needed to have a nutrition plan that was long-term for me. So I couldn't see myself doing the carnivore diet or the keto diet or Atkins or Whole30 or Weight Watchers long-term. So then why was I doing them in the first place? Because the habits I'm building now are the ones that I want to keep later to keep getting fit and building muscle and just feeling good and in shape and just feeling like I am capable of doing things with my body. That is the ultimate goal. So I need to find a nutrition plan that is like that from the start to the very end. Remember, you guys, to be building your glutes, you need to be eating food. You're not going to gain excessive amount of weight, and you really need to be consistent with what you are eating. You have to take the emotional aspect of eating and dieting out of it, which is so much easier said than done. So I got rid of my fear of carbs, and I realized that carbs are crazy important. Carbs are the energy for the muscle, whereas protein is the building block for the muscle. And so it's a very symbiotic relationship between the two to yield the best results for building your glutes and recompositioning your body, which is what I did. I was not on any kind of a diet, or I didn't cut any calories to shrink my waist. I was actually in a caloric surplus the whole time, which is nuts. So the photos that you see, I am the same weight in every single one. The difference was that I built muscle, but at the same time I was losing fat. I was eating, instead of very minimal calories, I was eating a lot, and I was eating mostly carbs, medium amount of protein, smaller amounts of fat. That is what worked for me.
Let me spill the tea for you. Come here. A little bit closer.
Yes. Hello. Hello, my children. Yes. So I have a little secret to share with you. Yes. I used fast food as a source of energy before my workouts. Yes. Yes, and it was amazing. And I loved it. Okay.
Yes, you guys. Yes, I used fast food as a source of energy before my workouts. Isn't that amazing? We can have a good relationship with food. We can have a good relationship with fast food. It is possible. Look at the results that I've gotten, you guys. It is possible. So let me tell you how I did it. First of all, it is by realizing that there's no good carbs and there's no bad carbs. That is us putting an emotional bias on food. These are good and these are bad. No. All food is good food for different reasons. Now, repeat it with me. All food is good food for different reasons.
Yes.
Yes. We have the short-term acting carbs versus the long-term acting carbs. This is very similar to medications. You get the short-term acting medications like liquid Advil, or you get the long-term acting medications that are in the different pill, shell types, whatever. They're for different reasons, and that is exactly how our food is, for different reasons, for different timing reasons. So the short-term carbs would be your candies, your breads, your pastas, your white rices. And the long-term acting carbs would be your berries, your bananas, your fruits, your quinoa, your brown rices. Those take a little longer to digest, so it's gonna take a little longer to kind of feel that energy from them. So when I needed like a quick source of energy and I didn't go crazy, I would go get like a sandwich from McDonald's or a sandwich from Chick-fil-A or some fries or whatever. And I took advantage of that. I took advantage of the short-term acting carbs because, from fast food, they have lots of sugars. They have the breads, very simple carbs that break down really, really easily. And I would have, that reserve probably in 30 to 45 minutes. And I would go to the gym and just hit a really hard glute day. That really helped me personally. Now, I'm not saying to have glute day every day and to go out and get fast food every day for every workout or pre-workout or every meal. I'm not saying that. This was the balance that I had that kept me sane. It worked out great for me. And so I want you guys to know that all food is good food. I don't want us to segregate our food into the good and the bad category because all food is good food for different reasons. Okay, I'm gonna keep saying that. Okay, you have to understand that with the short-term acting carbs, that as good as they can be in the short term, they tend to be more calorically dense. So having your candies or having that sandwich from McDonald's or whatever, it's gonna have more calories more likely than something that you can make at home because they literally add sugar, add salt to the bread, to like everything. The salt is really good for your muscles, so they aren't cramping. You're getting enough electrolytes in there, so the salt is great. The sugar is great for the short term, like you get that short term quick energy. But again, understanding that it's more calorically dense, so you might have to balance other meals throughout the day or throughout the week to kind of adjust and fit your caloric goals, which in this case, if you're trying to build your glutes, you should be in that surplus. So the biggest thing I would say is time your meals to your workout, and that is how you're going to get the best bang for your buck on the workout. So what I do to time my meals is about 30 minutes to an hour. I'll have one of my pre-workout meals, and you can actually see two of them in my previous videos that are some of my favorites. But having a pre-workout meal that has a carb source and a protein source, I do little fats before my pre-workouts. It personally makes me feel bad because they stay around longer. They are a little longer to digest, so I just kind of stay away from fats. If you are not eating enough food to build your muscle and yet you're training really hard, you're going to break down your muscle and it's not going to come back. And so you're going to get the inverse and you're going to get atrophy instead of hypertrophy. You're going to break down your muscle without the ability of building it back up. We'll get into that more in a couple minutes. So now we're in the exercise portion of this, and I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna start off with my core. I shrank down the 4 inches, right? I did not train core specifically. Nope, I did not do crunches, I didn't do sit-ups, I haven't done plank. I might do 1 plank a week if I feel like it, but it is not on my priority list at all. Why? How is this, right? If you are lifting weights properly, you should be training your core.
If you are lifting weights properly, you should be training your core.
Yes, my core is sore, or it has definitely been worked at the end of any kind of a workout that I do because I'm constantly engaging it to protect my back. It may take a little bit to build this habit in, but it's that mind-muscle connection. Like I'm always engaging my core before I go and pick up a deadlift, or before I squat, or before I do any isolated glute exercise. I'm always engaging my core. Now, that we know the secret to the core, which really is no secret because I haven't really done anything, let's get to the glutes. With the glutes, I make sure I am stretching them, I am warming them up, I am activating before I do any kind of heavy lifting with them. Why is this? Stretching your glutes or any kind of muscle group that you're about to target will increase the range of motion, and an increased range of motion means a better contraction, and a better contraction is key to hypertrophy training. Now let's get into that word hypertrophy a little bit. Hypertrophy is building the muscle up. It is the opposite of atrophy, which is breaking down the muscle. So hypertrophy training is something we can specifically train for. So we are trying to build the glutes in size, correct? So that is hypertrophy training. And now strength training is building the strength of the glutes. It's a little different than building the size of it. A lot of times programs will integrate the two, but here and for the purpose of this video, we're going to be specifically talking about hypertrophy training. Now, the isolated glute exercises that have completely changed my glute game are the good morning exercises, the hip thrust when properly done, and abductors or abductors. I'm going to rewind a little bit to the hip thrusts. I was doing hip thrusts incorrectly. It was hurting my back. I hated them. I despised them. Never thought I would ever like them. I was using like one of those soft boxes at the gym and getting a barbell and trying to lift that way, and I just could never position my hips correctly. I didn't know where to position my back. Like, it was just always hurting until I found at 24 Hour Fitness or other gyms that they have a hip thrust machine where it has a flat back and it has a harness that you can click into, and this it changed the game forever. It changed my glute game forever, and like, those are king. Hip thrusts are king when done correctly. So you do not need to lift a crazy amount of weight to get results from these isolated glute exercises. Any kind of a hip hinge will target your glutes. You do not need to be doing squats to target your glutes because that is a compound exercise that'll get your hamstrings, your quads, and your glutes. So if you're trying to build all of those, that's a really great exercise, but we're specifically talking about isolating the glutes, building the glutes how I did it, and this is how I did it. However, with hypertrophy training, to build your glutes, it needs to be a weight where you can fully contract the muscle. So for example, if you're on an abductor machine, which is the machine where you just sit and then pretend these are your legs, and then you open your legs, right? And you push out the weight with the side of your glutes. So for example, if you are right here, you're sitting here and you're only going part of the way when you could be going all the way, you're only going part of the way, that's not going to be effective. You want to increase the range of motion from the stretching and go all the way that you can with the weight that you have. That does not mean you have to do a lot of weight. Find a weight where you can comfortably do this for about 4 sets of 12 reps. Now, it can be 3 to 4 sets of 10 to 12 reps, but I personally have done 4 sets of 12 repetitions. This is ideal for hypertrophy training. You want to get that full contraction because when you are contracting, you are exercising in general, you are breaking down that muscle so we can build it up later with our nutrition. We're breaking down that muscle. So when you get that pump in that gym, it's because you are breaking down the muscle fibers slightly. This is how we rebuild our muscle. So don't be afraid about that. This is how we rebuild it. But if you get inflamed, you kind of get a good pump. It's because it's the inflammation that you see from your muscles. They look bigger because they're a little bit swollen and inflamed from breaking down a little bit. So that is the pump that we see. Now, we want to ensure that we're getting that full contraction, so we're breaking down equal amounts of muscle across the board in the glutes. And this is where you're going to see the size. On my isolated glute days, I would spend about 5 to 10 minutes of doing glute activation exercises like the frog pump, bodyweight hip thrusts, just hip hinges, good mornings without any weight, just basically squeezing my glutes together to make sure, hey, my mind is getting ready to work these out and knowing exactly what muscles I am working out. So it's that realigning that mind muscle connection. I would spend about 5 to 10 minutes on a mat doing glute activation, just really thinking about my glutes, thinking about what I'm about to do. If I'm on just a basic leg day, I'll probably do a glute activation, a really quick hip thrust without any body weight right at the squat bar.
Well, there you have it, you guys. Another video. Again, I appreciate your support so much. It makes me feel so fulfilled and happy that you guys are enjoying my content. And I'm here just to remind you guys that you are a baddie. You can do whatever you put your mind to. Just be consistent and intentional with it. You can literally do whatever you want in this life.